The cart's front wheel keeps catching, rattling like a warning I can't shut off. My palm is damp on the handle, cold air, plastic, detergent. Then I hear it. His laugh, soft, familiar, like it's been living in my bones. I look up and my throat seals. He's there, bent slightly, smiling down at two kids wrapped around his legs, chanting, "Grandpa, Grandpa," like it's a song. A woman in a neat coat leans in and kisses his cheek like this world makes sense. The lights stab my eyes. My knees melt. I lift my phone. Zoom, zoom. A text flashes. "Mum, don't, please." I spin. Mark stands behind me, paper white, staring past my shoulder like he's watching a nightmare walk. My name is Naomi, and 9 months ago I signed papers with my hand shaking so hard the pen kept slipping. I remember the funeral home carpet, too soft, swallowing footsteps like it didn't want witnesses, closed casket. "Too much damage," they said gently, like kindness could make a wall feel like closure. People hugged me and smelled like perfume and cold air. They told me I was strong. They told me Evan loved me. They slid casseroles into my arms and looked away when I didn't cry on cue. After the house turned into an echo. His shoes by the door, I couldn't move. His side of the bed flat and untouched, like the mattress forgot his weight. The space where his voice used to be became this constant ringing. Even silence sounded loud. Today was supposed to be normal. Groceries, milk, bread, something stupid for Mark's late night studying. I came here like a test, like if I could push a cart under these bright, humming lights, I could prove I was still a person and not just a widow-shaped hole. Then I saw him, and not a stranger who looked like him. The scar near his hairline, the way his shoulders slope forward when he listens, the tiny tilt of his head like he's considering a joke before he lets it out. He looks a little older, like time has been living on his face without me, but my body recognises him the way a burn recognises heat. My phone is still up, my screen trembling when Mark's words flash through my head and my son appears like he's been summoned by my fear. Mark, college hoodie, dark circles under his eyes, and the look on his face isn't confusion, it's terror, it's guilt. It hits me in the gut so hard I taste metal. If you stay with me, you'll see how one look from my son cracked open a lie so big it swallowed our whole family. Subscribe for stories where the truth always comes due, and hit like if you believe betrayal doesn't get to write the ending. Mark leans in, breath sharp against my ear. "Mom, we need to leave right now before he sees us." Mark's hand is on my wrist, not holding, clamping. His thumb presses into the soft underside like he's trying to keep me anchored to the planet. It hurts, but the pain is almost helpful, something real to focus on, because my brain keeps sliding off the edge of what I'm seeing. Evan, alive, laughing. The sound hits me and my body reacts before my mind can. My stomach drops like I missed a stare. My throat tightens so hard it feels stitched closed. I can't swallow. I can't blink. My eyes burn under these bright store lights like they're trying to dry me out from the inside. Mark tugs me sideways. We skid behind a tower of paper towels stacked too high, too perfect, like the store is building little white walls for people who need to hide. I don't resist. I can't. My knees are soft, my bones feel hollow. I stare through the gap between the stacks. He's still there. Two kids wrapped around his legs, their hands gripping his jeans like he belongs to them, like he's always belonged to them, like they've never had to call him on a voicemail that goes unanswered and listen to his voice on repeat just to remember what it felt like to be loved. The woman in the neat coat, dark hair pulled back, clean nails, her posture like she's never had to beg anyone to stay, leans in and kisses his cheek again. A quick peck, routine, ownership. My mouth fills with something sour. 9 months, 9 months ago, I stood in a funeral home that smelled like lilies and carpet cleaner and grief pretending to be dignity. The room was quiet in that unnatural way, like everyone was afraid sound would make the truth wobble. They guided me to the front. They told me where to stand. They told me when to sit. Closed casket. I remember the polished wood, so shiny it reflected the ceiling lights in little broken suns. I remember wanting to press my palms against it, to feel his outline through it, to convince myself he was inside. But the funeral director, soft voice, careful eyes, touched my elbow and said, "It's better this way, Naomi." Better. Like grief can be measured on a scale and adjusted for comfort. I remember signing papers. I remember the scratch of the pen, the legal language that meant nothing because my brain was full of one word, gone. And I remember Mark, standing beside me, shoulders tight, jaw locked. He didn't cry at the service, not really. He cried later in the kitchen when he thought I wasn't watching. Quiet tears over the sink, water running too loud like he was trying to drown himself in sound. I thought it was shock. I thought it was grief. Now, watching him crush my wrists like a lifeline, I feel something else start to rise, something hot, not sorrow, suspicion, the kind that tastes like pennies. My marriage wasn't perfect, no one's is. But it looked warm from the outside. We were the couple people pointed at and said, "They made it." We laughed at dumb TV shows. Evan kissed my forehead when he walked past me. He cooked pancakes on Saturdays with too much butter and pretended it was chef's secret. He called me Nomi when he wanted me to forgive him. But there were always little frictions, hairline cracks, his business trips, the way he would step outside to take calls, turning his body away like his words needed privacy, the way money was always complicated, always moving, always tied up in something I wouldn't understand, the way he'd come home with the receipts missing and explanations too smooth. I used to tell myself it was normal. He worked hard. He provided, he was tired. I told myself a lot of things. After he died, my life became a museum of him. I slept with the hallway light on because darkness felt too heavy, like it would press down on me until I couldn't breathe. I kept his mug in the sink for weeks, even after it started to smell stale, because washing it felt like erasing fingerprints. I played his last voicemail until the audio crackled. "Hey, Nomi, I'm boarding soon. I love you. Tell Mark I'll call him tonight. I'll be home before you know it." The first time I replayed it, I sobbed so hard I gagged. The second time I just held my breath. The 10th time it felt like chewing glass. Painful, but I did it anyway because it was the only way to prove he'd existed. And now he's standing 20 yards away, alive enough to be kissed, alive enough to be called grandpa, alive enough to smile like he never left anyone behind. My vision narrows. Mark's breathing is fast, shallow, like he's been running for a long time and only just stopped. I lean closer to him, my voice scraped down to a whisper, because speaking feels dangerous, like sound might summon Evan's eyes. "That's your father." Mark's throat moves. He doesn't answer right away. His eyes are fixed on Evan's profile. The way Evan's mouth lifts on one side when he laughs. The way he shifts his weight from heel to toe. Mark swallows. His voice is barely air. "Please, not here." My heart punches my ribs. Hard. Again. "Why are you shaking?" I ask. And the words come out sharp, not gentle. Because gentleness feels like a luxury I don't deserve anymore. Mark's fingers tighten around my wrist. I feel the pulse in his thumb, fast, panicked. "Because this isn't supposed to happen," he whispers. Not supposed to. Like there was a plan. Like there were rules. Like my seeing him is the problem, not him being alive. My ears ring. The store hum grows louder, blending with the fluorescent buzz until it feels like I'm trapped inside a machine. Evan reaches for something on a shelf. Cereal. His hand moves with casual certainty. I have this insane animal urge to run at him, to slap his chest, to grab his shoulders and shake him until the laugh falls out and the truth spills. But Mark's grip is a chain. I breathe in and it tastes like plastic and cinnamon rolls from the bakery aisle. I breathe out and it shakes. "Mark," I whisper, "let go." He doesn't. The kids tug on Evan's shirt. He bends down, says something I can't hear. The woman laughs, a small laugh, private. My stomach twists again. I remember the days after the funeral. People flooding my phone with sympathy, then slowly fading back into their lives. I remember sitting on the living room floor at 2 a.m. with a pile of paperwork, staring at numbers that didn't feel real, insurance forms, bank statements, a mortgage I didn't fully understand because Evan handled it. "Just sign here, Nomi." I signed because I trusted him, because he'd never led me wrong. At least that's what I told myself. Because when you're building a life with someone, you let them hold some of the weight. And the shame, God, the shame, being the widow who still couldn't breathe properly months later. Being the woman who flinched at couples holding hands in parking lots, being the mum who pretended to be fine for her son, then crumpled in the laundry room where no one could hear. I was scared I'd never be normal again. Worse, I was scared everyone was right, that I was weak, that I was dramatic, that I was the kind of woman who didn't know how to move forward, and now watching Evan with another family, a different fear crawls under my skin. What if I'm not weak? What if I've been lied to so completely my grief was staged? A sound scrapes behind us, a cart, someone passing too close. I press my back into the paper towel tower, trying to become flat, invisible. My chest is tight like a fist is squeezing my lungs. Mark's eyes dart. He keeps glancing between Evan and me like he's terrified. I'll bolt. I look at Mark's face, really look. The pallor, the sweat at his hairline, the way he's biting the inside of his cheek, hard enough to leave a mark. "You knew," I breathe, and it's not a question yet. It's my body testing the shape of the thought. Mark's lips part. Nothing comes out. That silence hits me harder than any confession because if he didn't know, he'd say no. He'd laugh at the idea. He'd tell me I was imagining things, but Mark doesn't deny it. My vision blurs at the edges. Not tears, something else, like my brain is trying to protect itself by smearing reality. I force myself to focus on details. That's how I stay upright. Evan's scar, still there, just above his right eyebrow. Faint but visible when he turns. The same scar I used to trace with my thumb when he fell asleep on the couch. His posture, that slight forward lean like he's always listening for an opportunity, a deal, a joke. The way he lifts his hand, his ring finger bare. My stomach drops again. He took it off. He took it off like I was a coat he didn't need anymore. The woman, she steers the cart now. She moves like she belongs beside him, like her place was always there. They walk toward the pharmacy area. I can see the bright sign, the counter, the line. My pulse thuds in my ears so loudly I almost miss it. The clerk's voice, clear in the open space. "Mrs. Hale?" I freeze. Hale. My last name. The name I took because I loved him. The name I wrote on permission slips, on birthday cards, on the holiday labels. I stuck to gifts. Mrs. Hale. She steps forward. Evan steps with her, like it's natural, like he's done this 1,000 times. The room tilts. For a second, I genuinely think I might faint. My fingertips go cold. My mouth goes numb. Mark's grip finally loosens, not because he's letting me go, because he's losing strength. I stare at the back of Evan's head, the curve of his neck, the exact way his hair thins at the crown. I want to scream, but the scream gets stuck behind my ribs. A memory flashes Evan on our porch years ago, when Mark was small, Evan holding Mark up to look at the stars. Evan saying, "We're a team, buddy, always, always." Mark's voice breaks the ringing in my ears. "Mum," he whispers, and it sounds like a confession already forming in his throat. "We have to go." I turn on him so fast the world streaks. My wrist finally slips free. The skin aches where he held me, a bruise blooming under the surface. I lean in until my nose is almost touching his cheek, until he can feel my breath, until he can't pretend this is just grief making me irrational. "What is this?" I whisper. "What is happening?" Mark's eyes fill. Not with sadness, with fear. Real fear, fear of being caught, fear of something collapsing. His mouth opens, closes, opens again like he's trying to swallow a stone. Then he finally says it. One sentence, small, devastating. "Mum, Dad didn't die the way you think." I don't remember deciding to move. I just do. My hand clamps around Mark's sleeve, and I steer him through the automatic doors like he's little again, like I can still drag him out of trouble by sheer force. Cold air punches my face. The parking lot smells like exhaust and wet asphalt and something fried from the food court. My lungs pull in too much, too fast, it burns. Mark stumbles beside me, eyes flicking back over his shoulder. I unlock the car. The beep is too cheerful. "Get in," I say, and my voice doesn't sound like mine. It sounds like someone who has already lost patience with reality. He slides into the passenger seat, and the seatbelt snaps across his chest. Click! The sound hits like a judge's gavel. Final, loud, official. I slam my own door, and my hands shake so hard the key fumbles in the ignition. I breathe once, twice. The third breath catches halfway and turns into a sharp, ugly thing. Mark's phone is in his hands. His knuckles are white around it like he's holding on to the only solid object in the world. "Mum," he says, voice cracking, "please just go home." Home. Home is a museum. Home is a hallway light left on like a prayer. Home is a mug I haven't moved because it feels like moving. It would admit something I can't survive. I start the engine. The vibration travels up through my feet, my spine, into my teeth. I turn to him, slowly, so slowly my neck aches. "It's complicated," he blurts, like throwing the word at me will stop me from asking for anything real. I stare at him until he flinches. "No," I say. My tongue feels thick, like it's swollen with salt. Lies are complicated. Truth is simple. His eyes squeeze shut for a second, and I see it, what he's trying not to show me, that he's been carrying something heavy for a long time, that he's been folding it down into smaller and smaller pieces so it would fit inside him. I pull out of the parking space too fast. The tires crunch over gravel. I don't look for Evan, I feel him. My whole body is a compass now, and every needle points to betrayal. We circle the lot once, slow, deliberate, until I see them. Evan pushes the cart like he owns the day. Serena, Mrs. Hale, walks beside him, the kids skipping around their legs like happy little satellites. He lifts one grocery bag with ease, like he's been doing it every week, like there's never been a funeral, like there's never been a widow in another house, sleeping with the lights on because her mind won't stop replaying the moment the world ended. They load the trunk of a mid-size SUV. Evan shuts it with a firm practice push. He opens the driver's door. No hesitation. He lives there. Mark makes a noise beside me, half whimper, half growl. He presses his palm to his mouth like he's trying to keep something from spilling out. I pull out behind them, not close, not obvious, far enough to pretend this is coincidence. My hands are steady now. It's the strangest thing, like grief, the sloppy kind that made me cry in grocery aisles at the sight of his favourite cereal, has snapped into something sharper, cleaner. Focus. Mark notices. "Mom, stop," he says, voice rising. Don't do this." I keep my eyes on the SUV. "If you won't tell me," I say, "I'll find out with my own eyes. We could get hurt," he whispers, and that word, hurt, lands wrong. Not like fear of a car accident, like fear of consequences. My jaw tightens until it aches. "Hurt," I repeat. "I buried your father. I signed the papers. I stood in a room full of people and tried not to collapse. What else is there left to hurt?" Mark's throat bobs. He looks out the window like he's looking for somewhere to jump. The SUV turns onto the main road, the brake lights glowing like a warning. I follow. My mind does this awful thing where it starts cataloguing details the way it always did when I tried to soothe myself. Like if I can list enough facts, I can keep my heart from exploding. Evan's ring hand bare. No pale band of skin where the gold used to sit, his shoulders relaxed. Not the tense, guilty way he used to come home from business trips. This is comfort. This is routine. Serena's posture. She leans toward him when she speaks, her mouth close to his ear, like she's entitled to his private space. The kids in the back seat. I can see the tops of their heads bouncing as they talk. My stomach churns with a slow, sick roll. I should be crying. I should be screaming. Instead, something cold spreads through me, starting at the centre of my chest and creeping outward. Erasure, that's what this feels like my entire life with him is being filed away as a draft he abandoned. We pass familiar streets, then unfamiliar ones, older neighbourhoods, smaller yards, less polished. He turns down a road lined with modest houses and winter bare trees. Mark's nails dig into his phone. "Mum," he says again, quieter. "Please." I don't answer. The SUV slows, signals, turns. A house comes into view. Small, tidy, the kind of place people live real lives in. A front porch with a swing, a child's bike leaned against the side, a wreath still hanging on the door, even though the season has passed. The SUV pulls into the driveway like it belongs there. My heart thuds once, hard. I park across the street, half hidden behind a van. I turn off the engine. Silence roars. We sit there, breathing the same air, but living in different worlds. Evan steps out first. He stretches like he's coming home from work, not from a lie. Serena gets out, smooth as water, and opens the back door. The kids tumble out, laughing, grabbing grocery bags like they're part of the team. Evan slings 2 bags over his arm. He looks up at the house with something on his face that I have not seen in 9 months. Ease. Belonging. The door opens before they even reach it. Someone inside was watching, waiting. Serena steps forward, and as she crosses the threshold, she turns her head slightly like she's speaking to Evan. He smiles. That smile punches straight through my ribs. Mark makes a small sound next to me, and I whip my head toward him. His eyes are glossy. His face is crumpled in a way I haven't seen since he was a kid and he broke his arm falling off his bike. Only this pain is older, guilt-shaped. "Tell me," I whisper. Mark shakes his head like a reflex, like a trained response. "Tell me," I say again, louder, and my voice cracks on the edge of it. He squeezes his eyes shut and then, like something inside him finally snaps, he says, "I found out months ago." The words fall between us like glass. "Months!" My stomach drops so fast I feel dizzy. "Months?" I repeat, and my mouth is numb around the word. How could you—" "I didn't mean to," he rushes, voice tumbling. "I wasn't looking. I was helping him with paperwork from the office, and there were bills, 2 sets of bills, utility statements with another address, school photos in an envelope, and a card." His voice breaks. "A birthday card," he whispers, eyes shining. It said, "Love, Dad, in his handwriting. My skin prickles, hot and cold at the same time. An image flashes, Evan at our kitchen table, writing cards with his tongue slightly out in concentration, his handwriting, the way he looped his Y's, the way he underlined names like it mattered. Mark's fingers twist together in his lap, like he's trying to wring out the confession. I confronted him, he says. I thought it was a mistake. I thought there had to be an explanation. I laugh once, sharp and ugly. An explanation, I repeat, like the word tastes poisonous. Mark flinches. He didn't deny it, Mark says. He just looked at me like he'd been waiting for this day. My stomach lurches. What did he say? I ask, and my voice is dangerously calm. Mark swallows hard. His eyes flick to the house across the street, then back to me. He said... Mark's voice drops to a whisper, like he's terrified the words will summon Evan into the car. He said he was leaving. My blood goes cold. He said he was tired, Mark continues, tired of splitting, tired of keeping up, tired of pretending. He said he wanted a clean break. I stare at Mark. The world around him blurs. All I see is my son's face and the shape of the betrayal behind it. And you let him? I whisper. Mark shakes his head violently. No, Mum, listen, he cornered me. The air in my lungs turns heavy. Cornered you how? I ask. Mark's breath hitches. He presses his knuckles to his mouth again. He told me if he couldn't disappear clean, Mark says, voice trembling, he'd burn everything down. My skin goes tight over my bones. He said he'd ruin you, Mark whispers. He said he'd drag your name through court, make it ugly, make it public. He said you'd lose the house, you'd lose... Mark's voice breaks, and he looks like he might throw up. He said you'd lose your mind. My heart slams. And you believed him, I say, and it's not an accusation. It's a realisation. Mark's eyes fill and spill over. I was scared, he says, the words drowning. I was scared you wouldn't survive it. I stare at him, and there it is, the cruelest part. Evan didn't just betray me. He used my son as a shield. He used Mark's love for me as a weapon against me. I squeeze my eyes shut, and when I open them again, the world feels different. Harder, sharper around the edges. So what? I whisper. What did you do? Mark's hands shake. He reaches into his pocket like his body has memorised this motion from months of hiding. He pulls out a second phone, small, older model, plain case. My heart stutters. What is that? I whisper, though I already know. Mark's voice is barely audible. He gave it to me, he says, for emergencies. He said, if anything went wrong, I could reach him. I stare at the phone like it's a snake. And the accident, I ask, my mouth dry. The crash, the closed casket, the paperwork. Mark's face crumples. It wasn't an accident, he whispers. The words slide into me like ice water. He paid someone, Mark says, voice shaking. He had a plan. He staged a crash report. He created a paper trail. He knew you'd never see the body if the casket was closed. He knew you'd accept it. Accept it. Like I was trained, like I was easy. The shame flares again, hot, acidic, crawling up my throat. I grip the steering wheel so hard my fingers ache. So I'm just... What? I whisper. A before photo. The woman he outgrew. Mark sobs quietly, shoulders folding in. I'm sorry, he chokes. I'm so sorry. Sorry. The word bounces off something inside me. I take the phone from his hands. My fingers are numb as they curl around it. The plastic is warm from his grip. I can feel his sweat on it. I unlock it. My thumb moves like it belongs here, like my body has been waiting for this. The screen lights up. Messages, call logs, a thread with a name saved as E. My vision swims for a second. I scroll, and there it is, an unsent message, sitting like a loaded gun. If she ever sees me, deny her, protect the story. My stomach drops so hard I think I might actually be sick. Protect the story, not protect me, not protect Mark. Protect the story, the lie. I stare at the words until the letters blur. Then I look up at the house again. Evan is inside, living, eating, laughing, breathing. And I am outside watching my own life like a stranger. My hands start to shake, not from grief now, from rage, from the sheer trembling pressure of being erased and expected to be grateful for it. Mark reaches for me, hesitates, pulls back like he knows he doesn't deserve comfort. I open my mouth and my voice comes out low, rough, like it's scraped over stone. He doesn't get to bury me alive, I say, and my whole body shudders with it, and call it mercy. The front door sticks the way it always has, swollen wood, old paint, like even my house has a throat full of things it won't say. I shoulder it to open, and the familiar smell hits me. Lemon cleaner, yesterday's coffee, and the faint ghost of Evan's cologne that refuses to leave the hallway, no matter how many times I scrub. For a second I stand there, keys still in my hand, and I swear the walls look staged, like a set, like someone dressed this place to look like a life. The living room is quiet, in that way that feels judgmental, like it's watching to see what I'll do. The lamp on the side table is exactly where it was when I left, the throw blanket folded like I folded it, the framed funeral photo on the mantel, Evan smiling, warm, gentle, the man everyone told me I was lucky to have, stares straight at me. I walk toward it like I'm being pulled. My feet feel heavy, but my head is too light, floating with adrenaline. The photo is in a cheap black frame I bought in a haze. His smile is the kind that used to soften me. Now it makes my stomach twist, because that smile is a prop, because the man in the frame is not dead. He is eating dinner in another woman's kitchen, with my last name in her mouth like a reward. I lift the frame off the mantel and hold it in both hands. My fingers shake, not from sadness, from the urge to throw it, to watch the glass spiderweb, to watch his face fracture into pieces that match the way my insides feel. But I don't. I set it down carefully, too carefully, like my restraint is the only thing keeping me from splintering. I turn and my eyes land on the cardboard box in the corner, my paperwork box, the box I've been too afraid to open unless I absolutely had to. The box that made me feel like I was drowning every time I touched it. I crouch in front of it. The tape peels back with a dry, ripping sound that raises goosebumps on my arms. Inside, envelopes, folders, forms, the official language of grief, a copy of the death certificate, insurance forms with blank lines, where my signature sits like a bruise, condolence letters with careful handwriting, and phrases like, "He's in a better place," and "Let me know if you need anything," from people who disappeared as soon as the casserole dishes were returned. I pull the death certificate out first. I stare at Evan's name printed cleanly, like the ink itself is confident. Evan Hale. Date. Location. Cause. It reads like a fact, but the man is alive. I feel the edges of the paper bite into my fingertips as my grip tightens. My chest pulses with something sharp, anger and humiliation twisted together. I remember the way I clutched this exact sheet 9 months ago, like it was a raft, like it could carry me across the ocean of missing him. It wasn't a raft, it was a blindfold. I flipped through the insurance forms. The language is cold, efficient, polite. It thanks me for my loss, while it asks for proof of it. Proof? I laugh, but it's a small, ugly sound that doesn't belong to joy. My hands start moving faster. Documents slide out, fan across the floor. My hair falls forward into my eyes, and I don't push it back. This isn't grief anymore. This is evidence. I sit back on my heels, breathing through my nose like I'm trying to keep myself from gagging. Okay, Naomi. I press the heel of my hand against my sternum, like I can hold my heart in place. If Evan wanted a clean disappearance, if he wanted to erase me without noise, then screaming won't help. Screaming is what he expects. Screaming makes women look unstable, makes them look emotional, makes them look like they can't be trusted with their own reality. No, I won't give him that. I'm not going to ruin him with rage. I'm going to reclaim my truth, my name, my money, my life, quietly, legally, decisively. My phone feels heavy in my pocket. I pull it out with fingers that still tremble. I scroll to Aunt Lydia's contact and my thumb hovers for half a second because calling her means saying it out loud, and saying it out loud will make it real in a different way. Then I press call. She answers on the second ring. Naomi. Her voice is brisk, like she's already expecting bad news. What's wrong? The moment I hear her, my throat tightens. I swallow hard. I saw him, I say. A beat of silence. Then softly, saw who? My eyes flick to the funeral photo on the mantel. Evan's smile watches me like it's daring me. Evan, I whisper. The silence on the other end doesn't sound shocked. It sounds resigned, and that makes my stomach sink again. Where? Lydia asks, voice sharpening. At the store, I say, my words coming faster now, tumbling out. With a woman with kids. They called him Grandpa. And Mark. Mark was there, Lydia. He was there, and he... My voice breaks, and I bite down on it, hard. He wasn't surprised. Lydia exhales through her nose a long, furious breath. Oh, sweetheart, she says, and there is no pity in it, only heat. I knew it, my head snaps up. You... What? I didn't know details, she says quickly, voice turning into a blade. But I knew something was off. Men like that don't just cheat, Naomi. My fingers dig into my thigh. What do you mean? Lydia's voice lowers, thick with contempt. Men like that don't cheat, they colonise. The word lands in my chest and I feel it like a bruise blooming. Colonise, take, occupy, rename, claim. He didn't just love someone else. He planted a flag in another life and left me guarding the ruins of the first one. My eyes burn, not tears. Heat. I need you here, I say. I'm already grabbing my keys, Lydia snaps. Don't move. Don't do anything stupid. And don't you dare fall apart before I get there. Fall apart after, when we have a plan. Plan. That word is a handrail. I cling to it. When I hang up, the house is too quiet again. The clock ticks in the kitchen like a countdown. Mark's face flashes in my mind, white, terrified, guilty. My son, my baby. And yet, he held my wrist. He pulled me behind paper towels like I was a secret. I can't let love make me stupid. My phone buzzes. A text from Mark. Mom, please, are you home? My fingers hover over the screen. I can still feel the imprint of his grip on my skin. I type back, home, 3 letters, nothing more. If I say too much, he'll panic. He'll try to manage me. He'll try to control the narrative the way his father trained him to. I stand up. My knees wobble, then lock. I walk to the window and look out at the street like I'm watching for someone to ambush me. And then I see Detective Rivas outside, across the yard, watering his winter plants like it's any other day. Retired, calm, the kind of man who always waves, always has a small story about neighbourhood birds or parking regulations. A detail man, a man who notices. My heart thuds once, slow and heavy. I pull on my coat without thinking and step outside. The cold air bites my cheeks, clearing some of the fog. Rivas looks up and smiles. Naomi, you okay? Haven't seen you much since. He trails off politely because everyone does that, since Evan, since the loss. I walk up to him and my mouth is dry. Can I ask you something, I say, keeping my voice steady through sheer force. He sets the watering can down gently. His eyes shift. Concern, attention. Of course, he says. I look him in the face, and for the first time since the store, I let the truth sit fully in my mouth. My husband is alive, I say quietly. Rivas doesn't laugh. He doesn't widen his eyes dramatically. He just, goes still, like a doggy hearing a strange sound. He studies me for a long second, like he's looking for cracks, signs I'm imagining things. Then he nods once. Okay, he says, just that. Okay, it almost makes me cry. How much I needed someone to treat me like I'm not crazy. I saw him, I say, with another family, and my son knew. Rivas's jaw tightens. You have proof? I think of the second phone, the unsent message, the words, protect the story. I do, I say. Then we start with what can be checked, he says, voice steady. Public records, addresses, insurance filings, anything that leaves a trail. Trail. That word makes my pulse quicken, because Evan always thought he was so careful, always thought he could float above consequences, but people like Rivas live for trails. I nod. Can you help me? I ask, and the question tastes strange. Like asking for help is admitting I'm not in control, but I'm not asking for comfort. I'm asking for tools. Rivas's eyes soften, but his voice stays firm. Yes, but you have to promise something. My stomach tightens. What? No confrontations, he says. Not yet. People who stage things, they don't play fair. You stay smart. Smart. I swallow, nodding again. When I go back inside, the house feels less like a trap and more like a workspace. Grief was fog. Anger is clarity. I stop crying because I don't have time for it. I clear the dining table with a sweeping motion that sends a stack of mail sliding. I grab a notepad, a marker, sticky notes. I pull out the paperwork again, but now I'm not drowning in it. I'm sorting it. I start writing dates, trips, the supposed accident timeline, when the insurance payout hit, when certain bills changed, Mark's text patterns, when he started pulling away, when his tone shifted. I print screenshots from Mark's hidden phone and lay them out in rows like they're exhibits. I pin up a simple truth board on the wall, tape and paper, nothing fancy. My handwriting looks shaky at first, then steadies. Evan, Serena, address, policy numbers, names. I don't know the second family's surname yet, but I write Mrs. Hale in thick letters and circle it until the paper wrinkles. My phone buzzes again. Mark. Mum, please don't do anything. Please. I stare at the message until my eyes ache. Then I type, I love you, but I won't carry your silence anymore. I hit send before I can soften it, because if I soften it, I'll drown. Lydia arrives an hour later, like a storm wearing boots. She takes one look at my table, my wall, my face, and her mouth tightens in approval and fury. Good, she says. Now we work. We sit together and the house doesn't feel empty for the first time in months. Not because I'm comforted, because I'm no longer alone in the truth. Lydia flips through the insurance papers, lips curling. He got paid, she murmurs. I blink. What? She taps a beneficiary line with her nail. Look at this. It's not just you. There's another split, another name. It's faint because you never looked for it. You didn't think you had to. My skin goes cold. I lean in, eyes scanning, breathing shallow. Another beneficiary. A name I don't recognise. My stomach rolls. Serena wasn't clueless. She wasn't some innocent woman being lied to. She benefited. She cashed in on my grief. My hands start to shake again, but this time I let it happen. I let the tremor move through me like electricity. Because this isn't just a cheating husband. This is a coordinated erasure, a partnership, a scam wrapped in a marriage. I pick up my phone and stare at Mark's thread. My thumb hovers. Then I type one calm text, each word placed like a brick. Tomorrow, you'll tell me everything, every account, every lie, or we do this without you. I hit send. My heart pounds as the message delivers, and in the silence after, thick, vibrating, I feel it. Not peace, something sharper, resolve, because whatever Evan thought he buried is standing up now. The next morning tastes like burnt coffee and adrenaline. I don't sleep, not really. I lay in bed with my eyes open, listening to the house settle, wood popping, pipes sighing, like it's alive and trying to pretend nothing happened. My phone sits on my nightstand, face down, like a guilty thing. When the sky finally lightens, I get up. My body moves with a strange calm, like grief has been replaced by a manual, step by step, no detours. I look at myself in the bathroom mirror and I don't recognise the woman staring back. Her eyes are too awake, too sharp, like someone peeled the softness off and left only bone. I brush my teeth until my gums sting, then I go back to the table. The truth board is still there. Paper, tape, my handwriting, like a heartbeat on the wall. Evan's name circled, Serena's, Mrs. Hale, underlined so hard the marker bled through. Lydia sits at my table with her coat still on, like she's ready to chase someone down the street if I ask. She watches me pour coffee with a steadiness I don't feel. "You're thinking revenge," she says. I swallow a mouthful that's too hot and let it burn. It feels right. "I'm thinking truth," I correct, and my voice is flat, because revenge is emotional. Revenge is impulsive. Revenge is what he expects me to do. Explode, unravel, make myself easy to dismiss. Truth is slower. Truth is surgical. I take a pen and draw 3 lines on a legal pad. Financial, legal, social, 3 prongs. Not a smear, not a scene, not a public spectacle, until I'm holding evidence so clean it could cut glass. Lydia's mouth twitches, almost a smile. That's my girl. My phone buzzes. Mark. I stare at his name until my stomach tightens. I don't answer. Not yet. If I talk to him too soon, I'll soften. I'll start mothering. I'll start trying to cushion the fall. And I can't cushion this. Not anymore. I make calls. I'm polite. That's the part that surprises me. My voice stays steady even while something inside me keeps screaming. I ask for referrals like I'm scheduling a dentist appointment. Detective Rivas had left a note under my door last night with a name and a number, written in neat block letters like he was handing me a tool. "Miss Chen, forensic accounting." I dial. My fingers are cold. The call connects. A woman answers with a crisp, calm voice. "Chen Financial, this is May." My throat tightens. I press my nails into my palm under the table. "Miss Chen," I say, "my name is Naomi Hale. I need help finding out where my money went." There's a pause, not sceptical, not nosy, just a professional assessment. "Do you have statements?" she asks. "Yes," I say, and my voice almost cracks on the word. "Then we can talk," she says, "but I'll be clear. Forensic work takes time and documentation. I'll need everything. Everything." The word steadies me. She gives me a retainer amount that makes my stomach flip. Numbers always make me feel like I'm falling, but I don't flinch. Because if Evan stole my life, I'm not going to be cheap about taking it back. Miss Chen sends a secure portal link while we're still on the phone. I watch the email arrive like it's a lifeline. "Upload bank statements, mortgage documents, insurance policies, tax filings, any business ledgers you have access to," she says. "Every statement. No gaps. No gaps." I hang up and my hands shake. Not fear, not anymore. Anticipation. I start pulling documents like a person tearing through rubble looking for survivors. I find old folders Evan labelled in his tidy handwriting. Home, business, taxes, as if the categories could hide the rot. I scan, I upload, my printer whirs, my scanner light slides back and forth like an interrogation lamp. Lydia watches me work like she's watching a fire catch in dry brush. By noon, my eyes feel gritty from staring at numbers. The house smells like paper and coffee and resolve. My phone buzzes again. A message from Mark. Mum, please. Dad is scared. He says you're going to ruin everything up. I freeze. Dad is scared. My mouth goes dry. Not sorry, not ashamed, scared. I type back one sentence and delete it. Type again, delete again. Finally, I send, tell him he should have been scared before he buried me. My hands tremble after I hit send, like my body finally realises I'm fighting back. An hour later, Miss Chen calls. Already. My heart flips in my chest. Naomi, she says, voice careful now, less neutral. I'm seeing patterns. My stomach tightens. Tell me, I whisper. There are repeated transfers to an LLC that doesn't match any legitimate vendor records, she says. Small enough to hide in regular expenses at first, then larger, consistent, like a drip turned into a leak. A drip, a leak. I stare at the framed photo on the mantel from across the room and I want to spit. What's the name, I ask. She tells me it's bland, generic, the kind of name you choose when you want it to disappear. My tongue presses against my teeth, holding back a sound. And, Miss Chen continues, there's a second mortgage. My breath stops. We only had one, I say, voice sharp. I'm looking at a second lien, she replies, and the signature on the documents doesn't match your earlier signature samples. The room goes cold. My fingers go numb around the phone. Doesn't match, I repeat, as if saying it will make it less real. It looks like a forged signature, she says, and there's no drama in her tone, just fact. I feel bile rise in my throat, hot and sudden. I swallow hard and it burns going down. Forged. My name, my identity, my hand on paper I never touched. I sink into the chair like my bones forgot how to hold me. Miss Chen keeps talking, voice steady, anchoring me. Also, insurance beneficiary splits. There are unusual allocations and changes near the date of the reported death. My skin prickles. So, Serena, I start, and my voice breaks on her name. I can't confirm intent, Miss Chen says gently. But yes, there is evidence she benefited. The words land, and my vision blurs for a second. I blink hard, no tears, not yet. I hang up and stare at the wall. Lydia leans forward. What did she say? My mouth opens, and it takes effort to push sound out. He forged my signature, I say. Lydia's face goes very still. Then it twists with rage. Oh, Naomi, she whispers. Oh, honey. I shake my head once, sharp. No, don't honey me. Not now. Because if she comforts me, I'll collapse. And collapse is what Evan wants. I stand up so fast the chair scrapes the floor. The noise is harsh in the quiet room, like a line being drawn. Next step, I say, and my voice is steadier than my hands. Legal leverage. I call Attorney Calder the same way I called Miss Chen, polite, controlled, like my life isn't on fire. He sees me the next day in an office that smells like leather and printer toner. The waiting room has a water feature that tries too hard to be calming. The sound of it makes me want to scream. Calder is sharp-eyed and calm. He doesn't offer pity, thank God. He asks questions like he's building a case in his head as I speak. Did you ever see a body, he asks. No, I say. Was the casket closed? He asks. Yes. Did you sign any new mortgage paperwork? He asks. No. Do you have proof of your husband being alive? He asks. I slide Mark's screenshots across his desk, the message, the thread, the unsent line. Protect the story. Calder's jaw tightens as he reads. This isn't just marital betrayal, he says quietly. This is fraud. The word is heavy and satisfying in the ugliest way. Fraud, not heartbreak, not drama, not messy family stuff, crime. Calder explains things in clean sentences, marital assets, identity misuse, insurance investigations, how to freeze accounts, how to stop property from being moved or hidden. And then he says something that settles into my bones like a rule of survival. The fastest justice is often paperwork, he says, not shouting. I nod slowly, because shouting is what I did in my head for 9 months, alone in a house full of ghosts. Paperwork is what Evan used against me, so paperwork is what I'll use to cut him out. Controlled reveal. No ambush in a grocery aisle. No screaming in a driveway. No storming into Serena's house like a woman in a movie. Instead, an invitation. Neutral, calm, civil, a family meeting under the pretext of closure and final paperwork. I draft it like a blade wrapped in velvet. Given recent developments, it's important we discuss final paperwork and next steps. Please attend a meeting to ensure everything is handled properly. Properly. I can almost hear Evan sneering at that word. Before I send it, my phone rings from a blocked number. My stomach tightens instantly. I answer anyway. I keep my voice flat. Hello? A woman's voice slides into my ear like ice water. You were the first chapter, she says, Serena. I know it without even thinking. Her tone is smooth, controlled. Don't rewrite the book. My fingers curl around the phone until my knuckles ache. I say nothing. Silence stretches. Then she exhales, impatient. He's moved on, Naomi. You should too. Moved on, like I'm a dated outfit he donated. My jaw tightens so hard it hurts. You're wearing my name, I say softly. A pause. Then her voice hardens. Names are just words. My stomach flips. I picture her at the pharmacy counter. Mrs. Hale. Her stepping forward like she earned it. My voice stays low. Funny, I say, because words are about to destroy your whole life, she scoffs. You don't have proof. I glance at my recorder app. Already running. The red dot is tiny, steady. I'm making proof, I say. Then I hang up. My hands shake afterward, but I force myself to take screenshots of the call log, save the recording, upload it to the secure folder Calder gave me. Everything becomes a file. Everything becomes a timestamp. Everything becomes something Evan can't charm his way out of. That evening, Mark shows up at my door. He looks wrecked, hoodie wrinkled, eyes swollen, like he hasn't slept in days. He opens his mouth, and I hold up my hand. No, I say. He freezes. I step closer until I can see the tiny tremor in his lower lip. I love you, I tell him, voice shaking now, not from weakness, pressure. But you don't get forgiveness as a substitute for consequences. His face crumples. I didn't, Mum, I didn't. You did, I cut in softly. Even if you were scared, even if you were pressured. You did. Mark's shoulders cave. He nods like it hurts. I'll tell you everything, he whispers. I hold his gaze. Tomorrow, I say, you'll tell me everything, every account, every lie. He nods again, tears slipping down his cheeks. He wipes them like a child. And for 1 second, my mother heart tries to surge forward, tries to pull him in, tries to make it okay. I swallow it hard, because if I make it okay, I teach him the same lesson Evan taught him, that Naomi will carry the mess so everyone else can stay clean. Not anymore. The next day, I schedule the meeting, not at my house, not at theirs, neutral ground, a community centre conference room with cameras in the hallway, a front desk sign-in sheet, fluorescent lights that don't flatter anyone, witnesses, a space that doesn't belong to Evan. I write the time and date down in ink and circle it. Then I send the invitation, and when it's done, I stand in my kitchen, staring at the empty space where grief used to live. My heart is pounding. My hands are steady. Outside, the world keeps moving like nothing is happening. Inside me, something has already begun to crack open. And Evan, alive, smug, careless, has no idea how sharp the truth can be when it finally stops being afraid. The community centre smells like bleach and old carpet and burnt coffee that's been sitting on a hot plate too long. The air is too cold. My skin tightens on my arms like it's trying to crawl away from what's coming. I wrap both hands around a paper cup anyway. The coffee is bitter. It coats my tongue like punishment. Good. Let it keep me awake. My hands are steady for the first time in months, and that scares me a little because it means something inside me has already decided. It means the pleading part of me, the part that wanted to be chosen again, is dead. In front of me is the folder, not fancy, not dramatic, a plain, thick folder that weighs more than grief ever did, because this one has numbers and signatures and timestamps. This one has teeth. Attorney Calder sits to my left, calm in his suit, a man made of clean sentences. Detective Rivas sits closer to the door, posture relaxed but eyes sharp, like he's watching for exits and lies at the same time. Lydia isn't here, not because she doesn't want to be, because I asked her not to. I needed fewer voices, fewer emotions. I needed the room to feel like a courtroom, not a family. The clock ticks above the door. Every second lands heavy. Evan is late. Of course he is. He always treated my time like it was extra, like it was a soft thing he could step on without leaving marks. He always arrived after me, like making me wait was a quiet way to remind me who was in control. Not today. At 50:07, the door opens. Cold air rushes in. Evan steps inside like he owns the space. Like the past 9 months were just a misunderstanding. He's dressed well, too well for a community centre. His hair is neat. His jaw is shaved. He wears that practised expression, concerned but calm, that used to make doctors listen and bankers smile. He scans the room and his eyes land on me. For half a second I see it. His confidence. Then he sees the folder in my hands and something flickers, a tiny tremor in the mask. He recovers fast, he always does. Naomi, he says softly, like he's saying my name at a funeral again, like he's the one comforting me. My stomach doesn't even move. Not a flutter, not a tug, nothing. He takes a step closer. I didn't want it to be like this. I watch his mouth form the words and I feel nothing except heat behind my eyes. Behind him, Serena enters. Her smile is already on her face, polished and practiced like she rehearsed it in the mirror. She wears a coat that looks expensive in a quiet way. Her hair is smooth. She's holding herself like she's the reasonable one. Her eyes skim the room. Then she sees Calder. Then she sees Rivas. Her smile slips. Not much. Just enough that I catch it. She knows those aren't friends. Those are consequences. Wearing human skin. She forces the smile back up, but her fingers tighten around her purse strap until her knuckles show. Naomi, she says, voice cool, this is unnecessary. Unnecessary, like truth is a hobby. Evan pulls out a chair as if he's hosting. He sits. Serena sits beside him, close, touching a united front. My chest aches, not with heartbreak, with disgust. Calder says nothing yet. He waits. He lets me lead, because this is my life being returned to me in pieces. I open the folder. The paper smell rises, ink, toner, the clean scent of documentation. I lay the first page on the table, a timeline, dates, trips, accident, payout. I hear Evan inhale slowly through his nose. I keep my voice even. It surprises me how calm it sounds, like someone else is speaking through my throat. I'm going to do this in steps, I say. Evan leans forward slightly, palms open. Naomi, please. I don't look at his hands. I don't look at his face. I look at the paper. Step 1. I slide the death certificate copy across the table. Evan's eyes flick over it, then back to me like he's still trying to decide whether charm will work. Step 2. I slide the insurance policy summary. Beneficiary splits, highlighted. Serena's eyes drop to the page. Her mouth tightens. The room is so quiet. I can hear the hum of the fluorescent lights above us. It's the same hum from the store, only now it doesn't feel like a headache. It feels like a spotlight. Step 3, I slide the bank, transfer printouts, rows of transactions into the Shell LLC. Evan's jaw ticks once, a tiny muscle jumping like a tell. Step 4, I slide the mortgage document, the signature discrepancy circled, the forged name, my name. My hand clenches around my pen, hard enough my fingers ache. Evan's eyes narrow. That's not. Calder's voice cuts through, calm as a scalpel. Mr. Hale, you'll have time to respond after the evidence is presented. Evan's mouth shuts. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like not controlling the rhythm of a room. Serena shifts in her seat. Her knee bounces once, then stops when she notices I saw it. I look at her, finally. You wore my name at a pharmacy counter, I say quietly. Her eyes flash. I didn't. You did, I interrupt, and my voice stays soft. That's the worst part for them. I'm not shouting, I'm not trembling, I'm not begging, I'm stating. Facts. I take out my phone and place it face up on the table. I tap the screen. A voicemail plays. Evan's voice, warm, familiar, the one that used to lull me. If she ever sees me, deny her, protect the story. The words fill the room. Serena's head turns sharply toward Evan. Evan's face doesn't move, but his eyes darken. A warning look. A silent command. Stay with me. It's reflex. It's control. I pause the audio. I lift my gaze to Evan, and for the first time, I let him see exactly what's in me. Not grief, not love, a clean, bright refusal. You don't get to narrate my life anymore, I say. The sentence lands and something in Evan's posture shifts. For the first time, he looks wrong-footed. He tries anyway. Of course he does. Know me, he says, voice turning velvet. I did what I did to protect you, to protect Mark. You wouldn't have handled... Don't, I say, and my voice is still calm, but it has an edge now. Don't pretend you did this for me. Mark's name in Evan's mouth makes my stomach twist like a hand reaching for the last lever he has. Mark, because Evan knows I still have a soft place there, and he's counting on it. The door opens behind us. Mark steps in like he's walking into a confession booth. He looks wrecked, eyes red, face pale, hands shaking at his sides like he's trying not to touch anything that could break. His gaze flicks to me first, quick, pleading, then to his father. Evan's face smooths instantly, a father's expression, concern, disappointment, control. Mark, Evan says quietly, like he's the wounded one, you didn't need to be here. Mark swallows hard. His Adam's apple bobs like a trapped thing. He sits, slowly, at the far end of the table, not beside Evan, not beside Serena, alone, where he belongs in this moment. His voice comes out cracked. I do need to be here. My heart twists, not enough to stop what's happening, just enough to remind me I'm still human. Evan tries to speak again, but Mark cuts in, soft, shaking, but firm. I knew, Mark says. The room freezes. Serena sucks in a breath. Her eyes widen at him, calculating like she's re-evaluating who the weakest link is. Mark's hands curl into fists. His knuckles go white. I found the second address months before the funeral, he says, voice trembling. The bills, the photos, the card. His voice breaks on card, and he presses his fingers to his eyes hard, like he's trying to push the tears back inside his skull. Evan's face hardens. Just a fraction, a silent threat. Mark keeps going anyway, words spilling now like he's been holding his breath for months, and finally exhaling. He told me if he couldn't disappear clean, he'd burn everything down, Mark says. His voice lifts. Panic and shame braided together. He told me Mom would lose everything, that she would be destroyed. He told me... He told me it would be my fault. I feel a hot sting behind my eyes, not tears, rage, because Evan's cruelty is so casual, so strategic, like he's been playing chess with our emotions while we were playing checkers with love. Mark's shoulders shake. I didn't know what to do. I thought I was protecting her. He looks at me then, eyes full, face crumpled like a child. I thought I was saving you, he whispers. My throat tightens. Calder speaks, voice smooth and firm, returning the room to procedure. Based on what's been presented, he says, the next steps will include a fraud report, an injunction request to freeze relevant accounts, and an insurance investigation into the payout and beneficiary changes. Serena's face changes at the word freeze. Fear flashes through her like a shadow. Evan's lips part as if to argue, but no sound comes out. For the first time, his charm doesn't find a door, because there are too many locks now. Serena turns toward Evan, her voice sharp, the practiced calm cracking. You said she was unstable. You said she wouldn't. Evan snaps his eyes to her. Not now. Not now. Control again. Serena flinches, and in that flinch I see it. She isn't the chosen one. She's just the next one, the next woman who believed she won instead of realising she was recruited. Then Miss Chen appears on a video call. Calder taps a tablet and her face comes up on the screen. She's calm, professional, unblinking. Mr. Hale, she says, there's one more point. Evan's nostrils flare. Miss Chen shares a ledger summary, rows of numbers, transfers, withdrawals. 2 households bled in parallel. There are substantial funds missing from both sets of accounts, she says. Your accounts, Mrs. Hale, and the accounts tied to Mrs. Hale, she glances at Serena's name on her file, as well. Serena's mouth drops open. What? She breathes. Miss Chen's tone doesn't change. The pattern suggests preparation for another disappearance, another exit. The room goes quiet in a different way now, like oxygen has been removed. Serena turns fully toward Evan. You were going to leave me too. Evan's face goes still, and in that stillness I see the crack. Not guilt, not shame, annoyance, like we're inconveniencing him with our feelings. His mask slips and there's nothing heroic underneath. Just a man caught. I close the folder gently. The sound of paper settling is louder than it should be. I stand. No shaking, no dramatic breath, just up. I look at Evan once, then Serena, then Mark. I'm done being your secret, I say. The words feel like stepping out of a locked room and realising the door was never my prison. My fear was I pick up my folder and slide my phone into my pocket. I walk to the door first. Behind me I hear Mark's chair scrape. He follows. Outside in the hallway the air is warmer. The hum of the building fades behind us. My lungs finally pull in a full breath and it hurts like waking up after a long sickness. Mark's voice cracks beside me. Do you hate me? I stop walking. I don't turn right away. I let the question sit between us, heavy and honest. Then I face him. My voice is quiet, real. I hate what you did, I say. My throat tightens on the next part, but I force it out anyway. I love you enough to let you face it. Mark's face crumples, but he nods like he understands, like he finally feels the weight he'd tried to hand me. We walk out into daylight, and for the first time since the funeral, sun doesn't feel like an insult, it feels like proof. After that day, life didn't turn into a movie. It turned into paperwork, phone calls, waiting rooms that smell like stale air, emails with subject lines that make my stomach clench. But for the first time, the system wasn't something happening to me. It was something moving with me. Accounts froze quietly, like someone finally put a hand over the mouth of the lie. Investigations opened questions asked in serious voices. My name, my real name, stopped being a decoration Evan could pin on whoever he wanted. I separated what was mine from what he tried to bury under signatures and smooth words. Mark didn't magically become fine. He didn't cry once and become a new person. He started showing up, counselling, community service, hard conversations where he didn't ask me to fix the feeling for him. He stopped promising and started doing. Some days I still feel the bruise of what he chose, but I also see him carrying his own weight for the first time. That matters. And me, I stopped keeping the hallway light on. One night I realised the dark wasn't a monster anymore, it was just night. I started the little business idea I kept pushing until later. Sewing again, creating again, using my hands to make something real, something that didn't vanish. I called friends I'd neglected while I was busy being a wife, who didn't ask questions. I let myself laugh without checking if it was allowed. The first full night of sleep felt like a miracle, not the kind with angels, the kind with silence that doesn't hurt. Grief made me small, truth made me brave, and sometimes I think back to that store, the fluorescent lights, the cartwheel rattling, the word grandpa bouncing off shelves like it belonged to him. I thought I was about to lose my husband a second time, but I didn't lose my husband twice. I found myself once. If you've ever been betrayed by someone who swore they loved you, comment truth so you know you're not alone. Like, subscribe and share, because someone out there is living inside a lie that's about to crack.